Hey, it's David Wakefield with PrimeLending, and I get this call frequently from clients. I've been in the mortgage business since 1994. I've helped thousands and thousands of people buy houses, and the question comes up, hey, can I buy a house? I got bad credit. Okay, the reality is yes, you certainly can. There's no problem with buying a house with bad credit. However, there's a few steps that we have to go through, a few hoops perhaps to jump through in order to get you qualified to purchase a house. Now, the whole thought of buying a house, I know, is stressful. It's overwhelming in a lot of cases. And if you got poor credit, it makes it that much more challenging for you to purchase that house. I totally understand. Now, first off, let's establish a couple of things. What's considered bad credit? Well, according to Experian, they say anything below 670 is bad credit. Now, if you got 670, I can get you a loan in 99% of the time all day long. There's no problem with a 670 score in financing. The agencies, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, they write the rules for conventional financing. They require at least a 620 credit score to get purchased. Now, on those 620 credit scores, you're going to have slightly higher interest rates. You're going to have higher mortgage insurance that you have to deal with as well. So there's a few things we've got to look at before we determine whether conventional financing is the best strategy for you. Now, the next option that we're going to look at is FHA. Now, FHA is the most popular option out there. It was established way back in 1934 to help out low to moderate income buyers in purchasing a house. And when I got in the business, I think the FHA maximum loan amount was like $69,000. Now it's about $526,000 in my local market. So certainly things have changed over time. Now FHA, some lenders will go as low as a 500 credit score. Now that's lower than what we'll do. It's difficult to get loans financed in those lower credit score arenas like that. We're okay with at least a 580 credit score. If we have at least a 580 credit score, then we can look at putting together an FHA loan for you. Now, it might require perhaps an additional down payment, more than the standard 3.5% down. You might need some additional cash reserves. There might be additional debt to income requirements. We have to look at your debt ratios to make sure you stay below certain numbers. So there's a number of things we've got to look at, but it is certainly possible. Now, the next option is going to be VA. Now, VA, if you're active duty military or if you're a veteran, you can purchase using a VA loan. Now, VA does not have a minimum credit score requirement, which is great. However, similar to FHA, if the score is low, it's kind of tough to get financing. So we will finance at a 580 score or better. And similar situation with FHA, we have to evaluate the situation, watch those debt ratios, and look at a few different things to determine whether it's going to make sense to extend that VA loan to you. Now, the next financing option that I'm going to look at and consider might be USDA. Now, USDA is kind of a hybrid between FHA and VA. There's no down payment required on USDA, and there are income and geographic restrictions, however. So in looking at a USDA loan, we've got to make sure your income is within the income range. We got to make sure the home you're looking to purchase is in that geographic area, and we got to make sure your credit score does meet the requirement, which according to most lenders, you've got to have at least a 640 for USDA. We will lend as low as 620 for USDA. Again, as we get into these lower credit score situations, there might be additional scrutiny we've got to take into consideration, additional things we've got to look at, but it is possible. We just need to see kind of where you fall in all those things. Now, cash is king. You've heard that said before. So when you're buying a house, if you do have cash available, huge benefit, right? If you don't need any down payment assistance. So if you have the cash, we can make a larger down payment perhaps. Maybe that'll get the job done. We can pay off some debt, maybe bring the debt ratios in line. Maybe that'll get you to the finish line. Perhaps even pay off some collections or judgments or all these things. We've just got to evaluate the funds that you have available and put together the best strategy for you to get into that new house. Now, I tell my clients, again, it's never a matter of if, it's only a matter of when. So if you want to buy a house, you can absolutely qualify to buy a house. It might be, we can get you closed in the next 2 to 3 weeks. It might be 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, might be 6 months, or might be a year before you're able to get where you want to be. But again, we're dealing with reality, not fiction. It didn't get your credit score didn't tank overnight. So if your score is low, there's a reason why it's low, certainly, and it won't necessarily catapult back up overnight either. Now, there are things that we can do and strategies we can put in place as we do evaluate your credit score and we evaluate your credit report. There might be suggestions and tips we can give to boost your score and kind of shock it immediately. So there are things that we can look at that will boost that score pretty quickly. And in some cases, I've seen scores jump up by 100 points in a couple of weeks. So that is entirely possible. So may not be your case, we have to get the information in the system so we can evaluate the options. So how do you begin? Feel free to give a call to the office. You can find me at 904-394-1398. That's 904-394-1398. You can also begin the process anytime online at www.davidwakefield.com. So davidwakefield.com, click apply now, fill out the information, be as detailed as possible. And if the system prompts you to plug in information about your employment and your assets, please make sure you do so. By doing so, if our system recognizes the employer or the banking institution, it'll pull that information directly into my file, and that might cut down on a lot of that paper chasing that you would normally have to do. So, hey, look forward to talking to you. Any questions, give a shout, 904-394-1398, or apply at davidwakefield.com. And if you know of anyone else that might benefit from this video, please share it. And I'm hoping you will also like and subscribe, as I'm constantly putting out new content. Thanks so much. Make it a great day.